All right, so let's get into it. So there's three different types of market trends we're going to be talking about here. And the first one is the uptrend, right? So one of the three market trends that can occur to in the markets is an uptrend, right? And I'm just going to explain to you what an uptrend is and then explain how to trade it, right? So what an uptrend is, right, is candles moving up, right? As simple as that. It's candles moving up and trending up. That's what an uptrend is, and an uptrend will begin, uptrends will start from a support, right? So uptrends start from a support here, as you see. And in an uptrend, you will expect candles to make a higher high and higher low, right? Higher highs and higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, right? And higher lows, right? Until it wants to eventually pull back. So, so first we got uptrend, right? When does an uptrend, what is an uptrend? It is candles moving up, right? When do uptrends start? They start off supports. What do? They make higher highs and higher lows, right? So, all right, cool. Now we know what uptrends are, right? Now, how do we trade an uptrend, right? Some of you may be thinking, let's just buy, right? We're in an uptrend, let's buy. The problem with that is if you buy now, you may just miss the move, right? You may just miss the move here. So the best thing to do in an uptrend, right, is to wait for a support to be formed, right? Because uptrends start from a support and uptrends, right? Off of a support, we will make a high, right? Off this support, we have made a high. So if we want to continue making if we want to continue to make higher highs, we're gonna do that off of a support, right? If we're gonna want to continue trending up after making a high, we will do that off of a support like we started in the uptrend, right? So this is gonna be the best thing I think to do when you're trading the uptrend is wait for a pullback. Don't buy, right? If price is trending up and it's already made a high and it already had a nice move, don't buy, right? Because we're way too high to buy. We want to buy low, not high, right? And don't sell because candles are bullish and we're in an uptrend, right? So what we want to do is wait for candles to start to pull back, right? And again, this is just an idea, right? This is just an idea, not this, it's not trying to, I'm not saying the markets are going to be perfect like this. It's just an idea and, these things will occur. And I think this is the best way to trade them. So what you want to do is wait for a support, right? And let price pull back, avoid the sells, right? Who cares how far? The thing about the sells is we don't know how far these candles want to pull back, right? So we're better off staying out instead of being in, right? And now as we're waiting for price to create a support, we're going to be pulling candles will pull back and then eventually, right? We will create a support. This is your opportunity now to take a trade in the uptrend, right? Because we started trending up off of a support, we will continue trending up off of a support, right? So if this happens, right, for sure I'm gonna be looking to take buys after, right, we make a lower wick and then we break the highs and then we continue moving up. This play right here has had an 80% win rate. So when price makes a high and then forms a support, there's an 80% probability we will retest these highs, right? So that's how you want to trade the uptrend, right? Wait for a support to be formed, okay? Let's get into the next market trend here. And this is kind of very similar, to the uptrend, and we got a downtrend. Yeah, a downtrend, right? So what is a downtrend? A downtrend is candles trending down, right? That's what a downtrend is. Candles trending down. When do downtrends start? They start off of a resistance. Whoops. They start off of a resistance, right? And what will candles do when they're trending down? They will make lower lows and lower highs, right? Lower lows and lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, etc., right? Okay, so A downtrend is when candles are trending down and there's a series of candles that are making lower lows and lower highs, and they start off of a resistance, right? So downtrends start off a resistance. So if we're going to continue trending down from when we started, we want to wait for another resistance, right? So the best way to trade a downtrend is to wait for resistance to be formed. So just like we talked about in the uptrend, when we're trending down, we don't know how far up candles want to pull back, right? So it's best to just avoid the pullback, not sure, right? How far up we want to pull back. We could come up here, we could come up here. Fake outs can happen, at any moment going against the trend. So let price pull back and wait for a resistance to be formed, right? Which is going to be a bearish candle right after a bullish candle, right? That's a resistance. So once you have that resistance in your downtrend, right, now you have the probability game, right? 80% probability that after price is made at low, we now have an 80% probability we'll retest that low off of a resistance, right? Because downtrends start from a resistance, we will continue to trend down off of a resistance, right? So right here is where you want to look to get into some sells, right? Like this. And that is how you want to trade the downtrend. And I've had very great success here with these setups in these trends, right? I like to call these the retest plays. Price is retesting the high, price is retesting the low, we're retesting the trend, right? So yeah, so we got uptrends and downtrends, right? We talked a little bit about them. Let's get into the next way, right? The third way the market can move here, right? And that's going to be consolidation. Consolidation. So what is consolidation, right? Consolidation is basically price ranging, right? Support right here, and resistance will equal a range. So you got a range here. Consolidation will happen when there's low volume, right? And when the markets are moving sideways, right? You see candles are moving up, candles are moving down, but here candles are moving sideways. In this in this trend right here, what you want to do is wait for a breakout play, right? Wait for the candle to either break above or below to look for buys or sells. All right, so candles are gonna be moving in this range, right? We don't want to participate with that, but as soon as you get a candle to break outside of the range, right? This could be your opportunity to look to take some sells coming back down, right? Because candles have struggled in this range, right? To move up, to move down, right? There were zones here that we weren't breaking. But then we got a candle that closed below the zone, right? It broke out of the zone, right? That's our sign that, hey, there's some volume here, right? Because there's this candle here is doing something that all these other candles here couldn't do, right? They couldn't do that. And this candle has broken out of the range and it's doing it, right? It's also a sign of volume, right? There was low volume as we were consolidating. If we break out, that could be a sign of volume. And this is the best way to, I think, trade, consolidation is waiting for breakouts out of the range, right? And key thing with the breakout, and I can make another video about this, you want it to close close to this zone, right? The closer the candle closes to the zone, the higher the probabilities will continue to the next zone. But the further the candle closes from the zone, the higher the probabilities, right? We're gonna want to maybe pull back and do something like this, right? So just keep that in mind. Yeah, that's it. That's all I got for the market trends. Hopefully, you guys caught some value. Hopefully, you guys learned something new as well. If you did, let me know in the comments below. And if you did as well, leave a like on the video and sub if you enjoyed and if you want some more. But that's it, right? So you got uptrends, downtrends, and consolidation. When we're in an uptrend, wait for supports to be formed to take buys. When we're in a downtrend, wait for sells to be formed to take sells. When we're consolidating, wait for candles to break outside of the consolidation range. All right. All right. Thank you guys. Hope you guys have an amazing day and I'll see you on the next one. Peace, peace.